And it all comes back to where do I get stuck? Where along the way in this process do I get stuck? You know, the beauty of the Zen Center is that we offer everything. We do service, we do meditation, we do counsel practice, we work on the 12 steps if you choose. We do community gardening, we do residential practice, we do jukai, taking the precepts. We offer dokusan and daisan. So where in this list of things that we offer are you getting stuck? Are you not participating? Just because you're not participating doesn't mean you're stuck, but it probably means I'll ask the question, and you can tell me that you're not really stuck. You're just not doing it for another reason, which is good, which is fine and good. The point isn't to do everything. The point is to see what we are doing and what we're not doing and be aware of what's going on for us and where we're stuck and where we're not stuck. One of the funnest and best parts of this progress and this program is to get over our defensiveness. It's an amazing practice. And that's part of what the teacher is here for. And part of what the form is here for, is to trigger us into our defensiveness. So then we say, well, I noticed you weren't doing that. And so to be like, well, I can't do that. I have to do something else. Or I don't like to do that. You don't do it this way. Okay. And you come back and you stick with it. And you keep moving through it, and you practice with it, and you realize, oh, my defensiveness is connected with my anger, my fear, my anxiety, my depression. Because it's all connected. And so it's to start to move through these things and to work with them. And then to move through that. It's such a wonderful transition to go through that, and so that 5 years or 10 years down the road, someone says, "Oh, I noticed you weren't doing that," and you're like, "Yeah, I did. I just didn't do that." Because I have issues. And I'm working on them. Pretty much when you get to that point, your issues are resolved. You know? The resolution of our issues isn't that we never do them anymore or never get triggered by them anymore. The resolution is that we've accepted them. And we can talk about it without being defensive and angry and upset and depressed and anxious. And if we do feel those things, then we can just be that. And it moves quickly because we're not stuck on it. So accepting this paradox is really a big step towards that. Being able to embrace that, yes, my my life is, I'm not where I want to be. I need a lot of help. I suffer and I feel separation. And I know it's perfect just as it is. And I know it's just the way it's supposed to be. You know, if you can say that, then you've made it through, you know, I don't know, the first door. It's a big step to take to be able to get to that point. Because once you're there, then you can work with whatever comes up by embracing that paradox. Okay, now I'm struggling with something, I don't want to do this, and now I know that I can do it because it's just the way it's supposed to be. And I can ask for help. Now, it's hard to ask for help if I can't accept that this is how it is, for whatever reason. Just because this is how it's supposed to be doesn't mean that this is the best of all worlds I can imagine. So, you know, passing through a place like that, passing through the separation that keeps me from what I think is supposed to be. That's a huge passing through that delusion and that idea and those emotions. What keeps us from our enlightenment, I see as like 90% emotion. 90% emotional work leads me to feel separate. It leads me to suffer. It's 10% or 1% ideas. If I can resolve the emotions, then the ideas shift automatically. The emotions driving the ideas of separation. So, back to the koan, this passing through. Passing through the net, you know, that's a metaphor for this. It's passing through our net, our stuck places, our net of ideas, our net of emotions that keep us separate. Passing through that net, that illusion or delusion that we're separate, that we feel. That's this net. Sancho asked Seppo, what does a golden fish that has passed through the net eat? So, this is a student and a teacher. Apparently it's like an advanced student, a student that has had some realization, some awakening, enough to be able to talk about this, to be able to ask this question. What does a golden fish that has passed through the net eat? What does a student that has become enlightened do next? Or what can you teach a student that has become enlightened? Seppo said, I'll tell you when you come out of the net. So that's a nice as we used to say when we were kids, burn. Yeah, burn. And And I can imagine, that's kind of an arrogant question to ask. I mean, if you can ask the question, then you probably have some understanding, some experience, or at least you can talk this language. Because it's a beautiful language of metaphor combined with spiritual philosophy. There's illusions, and so there's a lot of speaking in metaphors, which, as I mentioned before, the real understanding of Zen is that there's no metaphor. When I'm talking about the fish, I'm talking about myself. I wouldn't say the real understanding of Zen, but the real embrace of the paradox. If you really embrace the paradox that there's no separation and that we're separate, then we can speak in metaphors and realize that it is literal. So if I'm talking about how cold the wind is, then I'm talking about myself feeling cold. If I'm talking about how free the flowers are, I'm talking about myself and my own freedom. And it's not a metaphor, it's true. The flowers are free, the wind is cold. So it's a wonderful language to start to really get and to be able to share, talk about, speak. I'll tell you when you come out of the net. So on one hand, it's great to be able to ask the question. On the other hand, if you're asking the question, then you're not it. That's what he's pointing to. If you're even talking about it, then you're really not there. If you can talk about it, then you're there. If you are talking about it, then you're not there. That's part of why this practice is subtle. Working with a teacher, because as soon as you start talking about it, as soon as you start to get it enough to start talking about it, then the teacher says, well, you're talking about it, so you don't get it. You're like, wait a minute, I just got it, and now I'm talking about it. And you got to go to the next level. And then at the next level, well, you're not talking about it, so you must not get it. And that's the beauty of this evolution through this practice. Being able to talk about it and not talk about it at the same time. And that's part of what the teacher is here for, is to always get you on the other side.